Get ready to gear up and get smart. SoundCheck Music Center presents Tech Talk.
Tech Talk.
A workshop dedicated to get the basics to musicians all over the universe. Held once a month at SoundCheck Music Center in Grass Valley off Highway 49 and Brunswick on Maltman Drive. Come by. Admission is free. And now, here's your host, Mike Eaton.
Welcome to SoundCheck Music Tech Talk, and this is our second episode, and we're going to be talking about the vocal chain, and that's the recording chain and actually live chain also. You probably want to check out our last episode where we talked about all the different mics and what they're used for and how to mic up drums. And as we ended the last episode, we were going to go into the vocal chain. This is a large condenser FET. It's called a large condenser because of the diaphragm. It's a large diaphragm inside of here. It's double-sided. This mic is a copy of a Neumann U87, which is very popular for vocals. A lot of times they were used on male vocals, but the crossover between male and female, I don't want to generalize, but I think that we just need to call it high range and a low range rather than male and female. It doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, you have soprano males that can sing. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about vocal technique and how you set it up. So you would set your gain to where you're not quite hitting the preamp too hard, which is a level that's distorting the preamp. And you will hear it the minute that you start to test out the mic. You have to take into account the singer that you're working with. A lot of singers, if they're experienced, you can have a microphone set at a higher input because they know how to control it. And you won't have to use a compressor to bring down the levels that are too high to tape or to digital, which on tape you can you probably want to go into the high range on your gain. Just the fact that tape's more forgiving and it actually compresses it in a way that's more beautiful than any compressor could ever do. But digital, you can't go over zero. You hit zero, you do digital distortion, and that's it. It's over with. So you want to really take into account the singer, what their technique is, and if they can use the mic. And what I mean by using the mic, it's a vocal technique. You're singing a soft passage. You can get in a little bit closer, but you never want to be within the closest that I like, that I use, which I've got great results from, and a lot of other engineers, is 5 inches. But you can be back to a foot. It matters on the singer. If it's singing soft passages, you have to have them come in, and they have to have that barrier that they don't go past. And then they can back up and know how far it is, and that they're not losing too much gain. But they can adjust the gain, the engineers, afterwards. Or while they're singing too. They can actually ride the faders if they know the song well enough. But as you back up, you're going to get more of the room. So you want to make sure that the room that you're recording in is well balanced with the frequency range that you need, which will actually go into a whole nother episode of treatment of rooms and how you do that. And actually DIY, more DIY for people with home studios, which there is a lot of home studios that do this. So you have your pop guard within a few inches. The vocal can be right behind that a couple inches, that's 5 inches, or back to a foot, or if you're in a beautiful room like Bob Olson has talked about online. He is just one of the most incredible engineers for Motown. He had the whole Motown sound, had a lot to do with him. He's a legendary figure. He says that you go in a big room that sounds beautiful and it has the right balance. You're going to get a vocalist that you can back up 5-6 feet from the mic, turn it up. You're going to get some of the room, but the vocalist, because of the microphone that's being used, which is a large condenser, can pick up everything. They can sing the loud. They can move around a little bit, and you won't lose too much. The levels won't fly off the map. Basically, is what he says, and it makes a lot of sense. If you are in a good room that is balanced, and it's not going to build up any reflections that are going to be really annoying and hard to get out of the mix, or it's actually going to be locked in the mix at that point, you want to have a good sounding room. So most recording nowadays might be in a vocal booth, Vocal booths are usually pretty dead. So you're going to use the technique within the distance of a foot. The other thing to take into consideration is if a vocalist keeps scorching the mic, and actually this is what engineer circles talk about online the most, is the vocal chain. What is the vocal chain? The vocal chain is the microphone, of course the singer. The singer being well versed in vocal technique and mic technique. Now vocal technique is the art of singing, but then you have to know how to sing into that microphone, which is a whole other technique, which we were discussing. So we have the pop filter, which I was talking about before. You can make these. There's actually where I started, I didn't have a pop filter, couldn't afford one when I first started recording. One thing you can do for the DIY home recorders, take some nylons, take a coat hanger, bend it around and twist it around, and then you can hook it on to a stand any way possible. I actually used a straight mic stand, stuck it down inside the hole, and put duct tape. And what that is, that gives you the same pop filter that you would get right here. So the pop guard, you want to keep it a little bit of ways away. You don't want to get the proximity effect. Whenever you get too close to the mic, you get the proximity, the boxy sound, the bass buildup. You don't want that. You want to have the microphone, you want to be back between 5 and 10 inches, maybe even a foot, and you're gold. You won't have any B's and pops. And my name is Mike Eaton, and this is Tech Talk and Mike on Mics.